I'm so glad that worked and we're all safe. Oh my gosh. I mean, I knew everything was gonna work perfectly. Anyway, I can't believe we're really in the 20s. Do you hear that music? Al Johnson's Swanee. It was made in 1920. Some other popular songs in the 20s were George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue and Paul Whiteman's Whispering, both in 1924. Food of the decade was deviled eggs, pineapple upside down cake, and chicken a la king. The fashion style in the 1920s was long flapper dresses. They were very straight and boxy, and sometimes it was called the garçon, which is boy in French. The 20s was the time to party after the war had ended, and everybody was celebrating what a good time they'd be having. Whoa, that was a lot smoother of a ride. I think I'm finally breaking this thing in. Oh, sorry, I just had to adjust a few things. Anyway, now that we're in the 30s, the music style consisted of jazz and swing music.
And every time it rains,
hear that? That's Bing Crosby's song, Pennies from Heaven. Boy, all that time traveling made me really hungry. How about you guys on the other side of the screen? Ooh, how about a nice, filling, resourceful potato soup or macaroni? Fashion of the 30s was satin evening dresses that had a more feminine silhouette. Alright, now on to the 40s and 50s. See you there! That was a bit scary. Did you hear all that racket from the machine? I think it's just a real screw. Don't worry. I don't think it's a screw. But we'll be fine. Anyway, the music style of the 40s and 50s was the birth of rock and roll.
everybody knows they
Sorry. Anyway, with the Chattanooga Choo Choo and Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy being one of the most popular songs. The food of the decade was creamy coconut pie and scrumptious meatloaf. Because of World War II, meals needed to be quick, filling, and long-lasting. Women from the decades wore padded shoulder suits and knee-length pencil skirts. Women began working in factories, and these knee-length skirts were convenient. These attires still had their feminine, classy silhouettes, while being short enough to work in. Now to the 60s. Ready? Let's go. And teleport. Teleport. I don't think my machine's working. Am I stuck in the 40s and 50s? Oh no. Well, while I try to get out, here's a word from our special guest who was born in 1929.
Must have been about 4 or 5. My dad, in order for us to get shoes, we had to take the kids. The kids had to go with my dad to prove that we needed shoes. It was so hot, the pavement was, we used to go barefoot a lot too. And it was a long walk. I got there, and the guy said, we don't have any more shoes for you. My dad said, you better have shoes for me right now. But you know, they were the kind of the high top ones. I liked them, but my sister Shirley, she was the type. I'm not wearing those. Back then, you had to lace. That was one thing when I was real little. They were trying to teach me how to tie my shoes. And that was quite a job to do that. Men couldn't they didn't get jobs. My father, and he'd say, see that? That's where I worked there. I did this. They had a rough time in that era because they could not get the jobs.
Ah, I made it. I thought I'd never get back to now. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Bye!